Johnny stood frozen, his heart pierced by 1,000 needles as he watched Jessica prepare for that evening. She carefully slipped into a set of seductive lingerie, pulled on thigh-high stockings that hugged her legs perfectly, and meticulously applied her makeup and styled her hair. Every movement radiated care and allure, an effort he hadn't seen her make for him in a long time. Then, she draped a dress over herself that he had never seen before, pairing it with high heels that transformed her into someone entirely different. A storm of emotions surged within him, betrayal, jealousy, and an uncontrollable rage. Jessica wasn't doing this for him. All of this effort, all of this seduction, was for Mark Diamond, her boss at the law firm where she worked as a personal assistant. Johnny had spent his entire life working tirelessly to provide Jessica with a comfortable home, a stable family, and a future where their daughter could go to college without financial worries. He was proud of what he had built, even if his job, selling hardware equipment for over $200,000 a year, wasn't as glamorous as Mark's world. But now, it all felt like it was crumbling. Jessica, the woman he had loved and trusted for 20 years, was turning herself into an irresistible vision, but not for him. The realization left him reeling in pain and confusion. Their marriage had always seemed solid, at least in Johnny's eyes. Jessica had always been loving, caring, and had never given him reason to doubt her. But everything changed a month ago at her company's party. Mark, with his smug smile and lingering gaze on Jessica, had triggered a gut-wrenching feeling inside Johnny. When he brought it up later, Jessica immediately defended Mark, deepening his suspicion. Since then, late-night meetings and missed lunches became red flags, pulling him into a spiral of anger and insecurity. For 20 years, Johnny and Jessica's marriage had been a picture of love and commitment, one he believed was unshakable. Jessica had always been the devoted wife, making him feel safe and deeply loved. From the early days of building their life together to raising their daughter, she had never given him a reason to question her loyalty. To Johnny, she was perfect, gentle, dedicated, and always by his side through every hardship. But all of that changed 1 month ago, at the company party where the cracks first began to show. That night, Mark Diamond, a senior manager at the law firm, made Johnny uneasy. Mark wasn't just overly attentive to Jessica, he was deliberately provoking Johnny. As they danced together, Mark's smug grin was directed straight at him, like a silent challenge. A dark feeling gnawed at Johnny's gut, whispering that something was wrong. The next day, when he confronted Jessica, she brushed it off immediately. "He's just friendly, don't be so sensitive," she said, her tone light but firm. Instead of reassuring him, her quick defense only deepened his doubts. From then on, Johnny started noticing little details he had overlooked before. The late-night meetings, the lunches Jessica was too busy to come home for, each one now seemed like a warning sign. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Mark wasn't just Jessica's boss, he was wealthy, flashy, and arrogant, always flaunting his success with expensive cars, designer watches, and a young trophy wife named Stella. In Johnny's eyes, Mark was the type of man who wanted to take everything for himself. And now, Johnny feared Jessica had become his next conquest. The trust that had once been unshakable was now crumbling. Johnny couldn't sit back and let suspicion eat away at him. He decided to act, to uncover the truth about Jessica and Mark. Within a week, he ordered 6 audio recorders and 5 high-resolution cameras. He carefully installed them throughout the house, one hidden in the smoke detector in their bedroom, others discreetly placed in the living room, bathroom, and shared spaces. The audio recorders were hidden in Jessica's favorite handbag, her car, and even near the landline phone in the kitchen. Everything was linked to a secure server in the attic, which he could access remotely from his phone. When he was done, he was confident that he would capture at least 90% of all conversations and activities in the house. As he prepared for a 2-day business trip, a sinking feeling settled in his gut. Before leaving, Jessica was as sweet as ever, hugging him, whispering words of love, and giving him a passionate night, as if trying to soothe his doubts. "I love you so much," she murmured, her voice soft and emotional, her eyes glistening as if on the verge of tears. "Being with you like this means everything to me." He kissed her back, murmuring, "I love you too, you're amazing, and I'll always love you." That night, their bond felt so strong that Johnny almost convinced himself he had been overthinking everything. But he didn't abandon his plan. He left the devices running and walked out the door. On his trip, Johnny's mind raced through the past 6 months, searching for signs he might have missed. When he arrived at the hotel, he checked his work emails before connecting to the home surveillance system. Fast-forwarding 3 hours into the footage, he paused when he saw Jessica enter their bedroom. At first, he simply watched her, but then, the call she made changed everything. "He's gone now. I have the house to myself," she said excitedly into the phone. "When can you come?" His heart stopped. Johnny sat frozen in his hotel room, eyes glued to the laptop screen, his heart growing heavier as he watched the recorded footage from home. Just an hour ago, he and Jessica had spent an intimate night together, where she had repeatedly professed her love, holding him so tightly that he had nearly convinced himself his fears were unfounded. But now, through the camera, he saw her lying on their bed, speaking into the phone with eager anticipation. "He's gone now. I have the house to myself for 2 whole nights. When can you come? Your wife won't suspect anything, right? I want to wake up next to you." Those words were like a knife twisting in his chest. "I love you," she whispered before ending the call. Johnny felt numb. The woman he had cherished for so long, who had once been his everything, had become someone unrecognizable. For the next hour, he watched in agony as Jessica prepared for Mark. She showered, slipped into a set of seductive lingerie, styled her hair, and applied her makeup. Then she put on high heels she rarely wore for him. Watching her transform into this alluring, unfamiliar version of herself, one that didn't belong to him, was both mesmerizing and soul-crushing. He had always known she was beautiful. But now, that beauty was for someone else. His last shred of hope shattered when the doorbell rang. Jessica opened the door, and Mark Diamond stepped inside, a smug grin on his face. The camera captured him pulling her into a deep, passionate kiss. Johnny felt his stomach churn. He rushed to the bathroom and vomited. When he returned to the screen, Jessica was leading Mark into their bedroom. "Wow, you look stunning," Mark said, his eyes drinking in her body. "I can't wait to take this dress off you and have you all night." Johnny's blood boiled. But the worst part came when Jessica took Mark's hand, leading him into what had once been their sacred space. He wanted to turn off the laptop. He wanted to stop watching. But he couldn't. For the next hour, he was forced to listen, to the sounds of their lovemaking, to their whispered endearments, to each moment that felt like a dagger stabbing into his soul. Betrayal had never been clearer. Johnny sat motionless, his eyes burning as he watched Jessica and Mark wrapped in each other's arms in his bed. "So Johnny's really gone for 2 nights? Mark asked, his voice dripping with satisfaction. Jessica smiled, nodding. "Yeah, you have me all to yourself. I've wanted to wake up next to you for so long. I love being with you." Mark chuckled. "Me too. I'll have you over and over again while your husband's out there working like an idiot." Jessica playfully slapped his chest. "Don't be mean. Johnny's a good man, and I love him." Mark raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you here with me?" She hesitated. "Then," she answered, "because you're the most exciting man I've ever met. This connection, it's irresistible." And that was the final blade through Johnny's heart.